2 days before Briar's 9th birthday. My phone buzzes on the kitchen counter. I'm elbow deep in dishwater, scrubbing dried macaroni off a pot, when Karen's text lights up the screen. Money's tight and the truck's acting up. We can't make the drive. Tell Briar we're sorry. I dry my hands on a towel that's more holes than fabric and read it again. The truck, the Ford F-150 I bought in my name. That I pay for every month. That Thad drives like he earned it. Briar's at the table behind me, adding final touches to the ceramic mug she spent 6 weeks making. Her tongue pokes out the corner of her mouth the way it does when she concentrates. Blue glaze. 3 coats. Because she wanted it perfect for Grandpa. Mom. Her voice cracks. Are they coming Saturday? I should lie. Tell her maybe. Tell her we'll see. Tell her anything except the truth that's already forming in her eyes because she can read my face better than I can hide it. They can't make it. Honey. Grandma says the truck's having problems. She doesn't cry right away. Just stares at the mug. At the wonky handle she worked so hard to attach. At the thumbprint she left in the clay that I told her made it special instead of ruined. Then the tears come. Silent at first. Then hiccuping sobs that shake her whole body. I hold her on the couch until she falls asleep. Her face hot and swollen against my shoulder. She asks what she did wrong. I tell her nothing. Nothing at all. But she doesn't believe me. 9 years old and already learning that love gets rationed. After I carry her to bed, I do what every pathetic, lonely person does at midnight. I scroll Instagram. Carrick's profile loads. And there they are. My parents in Aspen. The photo is geotagged at the Little Nell. I recognize the lobby from a travel show I watched once. Back when I thought maybe I'd have money for vacation someday. A Christmas tree towers behind them. 20 feet of twinkling lights and gold ornament excess. Karen beams. Her arm around a pair of professional skis wrapped in a red bow. $800 worth of skis for Carrick's son. I know because the brand is tagged. The caption. Grandparents of the year spoiling the air. I read it 5 times. Then I zoom in on Thad's face. On his satisfied smirk. On the way he's standing straighter than he has in years. Because he's somewhere that matters. With someone who matters. Not here. Not with Briar. Who matters so little they couldn't even bother with a believable lie. The sadness I expect doesn't come. Instead, something cold and sharp settles in my chest. Calcifying around my ribs like ice forming over a lake. Rage. But the kind that doesn't scream. The kind that plans. I open my banking app. My hands don't shake the way they did 5 years ago when I signed papers I couldn't read. They're steady now. Deliberate. As I navigate to the American Express account and lock the card. Then remove Thaddeus Sterling as an authorized user. A pop-up asks if I'm sure. I tap yes. Next. I pull my credit report. I've never done this before. Always too afraid of what I might find. But tonight, fear feels irrelevant compared to what I've already seen. The report loads in sections. Credit cards. Student loans. The truck payment. Everything I expect. Then I see it. A hard inquiry from 3 months ago. A personal loan for $12,500 issued by a lender I've never heard of. Purpose listed. Club membership upgrade. I call the fraud department. The hold music is tinny and repetitive. Cycling through the same 30 seconds of jazz for 18 minutes. I don't hang up. When the agent finally answers, I navigate the security questions with answers only I should know. My first pet's name. My mother's maiden name. The street I grew up on. I need to hear the loan application recording. I tell her. Keys click on her end. Just a moment. Static crackles through the line. Then Karen's voice fills my ear. Smooth and confident. Reciting my social security number like she's ordering coffee. And your mother's maiden name? Sterling. Karen says. Her own maiden name. She doesn't even hesitate. First pet. Buttons. The tabby cat I had when I was 7. The agent comes back on. Ma'am, is this your voice on the recording? No. My throat feels tight. That's my mother. I hang up after giving them my information for the investigation. The apartment is quiet except for the rain still hammering the windows and the hum of the refrigerator kicking on. I walk to the counter where Briar's mug sits. Wrapped in tissue paper. Waiting for grandparents who chose champagne and Aspen over cake in Oregon. The clarity hits me all at once. Sharp and undeniable. They didn't just hurt me. They chose to rob their granddaughter's future to fund their ego. I pick up my phone and navigate back to my banking app. Screenshot the locked credit card. Then I pull up the fraud department's website and start filling out forms. Police report first. Then the Federal Trade Commission identity theft affidavit. No tears. Just checkboxes and signature lines and the methodical documentation of betrayal. For 5 years, I've chosen family peace over everything else, over sleep, over financial stability, over my own dignity. I chose it because I thought I owed them for keeping me alive after my husband died. But I look at that mug. At the careful way Briar glazed it. At the love she poured into something for someone who couldn't be bothered to drive 3 hours for her birthday. And I choose her instead. Then I call the police and report them for fraud and identity theft. By morning, the loan is flagged for investigation. American Express confirms the permanent removal of the authorized user. I filed the police report online. My coffee going cold beside the keyboard as I type out every detail I can remember. I leave the mug on the counter. The tissue paper loose around it. They're still in Aspen, probably sleeping off expensive wine. Unaware that the ATM of Adeline just shut down permanently. The American Express declines at 11:43 on Saturday morning. Mountain time. I'm scrubbing dried oatmeal off Briar's breakfast bowl when my phone starts vibrating across the counter like something possessed. Aunt Maura calls first. I stare at her name on the screen. Remembering the last time we spoke. She'd lectured me about gratitude for 20 minutes after I mentioned I couldn't afford Briar's field trip because the monthly payment to my parents had cleared early. I answer. Your father is in a panic. Maura's voice cuts through before I say hello. His card isn't working. He has high blood pressure. Adeline, if he has a stroke in that lobby, that's on you. The oatmeal bowl slips, catches on the edge of the sink. I study it with fingers that remember signing loan documents while grief hollowed me out. I locked the card. I say, you what? I removed him as an authorized user. The card is mine. Silence. Then, after everything they've done for you, after they saved you when I hang up, the phone buzzes again immediately. Carrick, this time, calling from Aspen where she's supposed to be having money troubles. Dad is making a scene in the lobby. Her voice is tight. Embarrassed. You're ruining my spa weekend. Whatever this is about, fix it. Through the phone, I hear Thod's voice in the background. Loud enough that other guests must be watching. Something about ungrateful daughters and financial abuse. No, I say. Excuse me? I said no. I'm not fixing anything. Carrick inhales sharp. You're being selfish. This is so typical of you. Always making everything about. I hang up again. My phone vibrates with a voicemail. Karen's voice trembles through the speaker when I play it back. How could you embarrass us like this after everything we've done? We raised you better than this. We're your parents. Adeline. Your parents? I delete it. Then I look at the ceramic mug still sitting on the counter. Briar's thumbprint visible in the blue glaze. Uneven and perfect. She'd worked on it every Tuesday after school for 6 weeks. Asked me 3 times if Grandpa would really like it. If the color was right. If the handle was strong enough. I pick up my phone again. Block Maura. The screen asks if I'm sure. I tap yes. Block Carrick. Same question. Yes. Block Karen. My finger hovers. She's my mother. The woman who took my phone at the funeral and promised she was helping. The woman whose voice I heard on that loan recording. Smooth and practiced. Reciting my social security number like she'd memorized it for exactly this purpose. Yes. Each block feels like setting down a weight I didn't know I'd been carrying. My shoulders drop half an inch. I leave Thad unblocked. I need him to come to me. Need him to show up furious and demanding. Need him to step onto my property where Mike's tow truck can do its work. The phone stays quiet for the rest of Saturday. Briar asks why I'm smiling. And I tell her I'm just happy. She accepts this. Returns to her coloring book. Her legs swinging under the kitchen table. Sunday morning. I pull the file cabinet open. The drawer sticks like it always does. And I have to yank it twice before it slides free. Inside, buried under 5 years of tax returns and medical bills and design contracts. I find the vehicle paperwork. Ford F-150. Purchased. Not leased. Title in my name. Adeline Marie Richardson. Sole owner. Dad drives it like it belongs to him. Parks it in the country club lot where his golf buddies can see it. Complains about the gas mileage. Texts me when it needs an oil change like I'm his personal mechanic. But it's mine. I photograph every page. The purchase agreement. The title. The insurance documents listing me as the primary. I save them to 3 different folders on my phone. Email them to myself. Print copies that I slide into the manila envelope with the police report and the FTC affidavit. Then I search, private property impound laws Oregon, and read for 2 hours. Mike Kowalski answers on the 3rd ring. His voice is gravel and cigarettes. Familiar from the one time he towed my neighbor's abandoned sedan last spring. I need a truck towed from my driveway. I say, Tuesday afternoon, but the driver is going to be standing right there and he's going to argue. Mike is quiet for 3 seconds. Then, is it your truck? Title's in my name. Then I don't care who argues. What time? 2 o'clock. Maybe 3. I'll text you when they arrive. $50 for the tow. $95 a day storage after that. Perfect. He hangs up without saying goodbye. I add his number to my favorites. To amp up the drama, I recall real Oregon laws on identity theft, from the Oregon Department of Justice site. It's a Class C felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and fines up to $125 if the damage exceeds $1. This hits me hard. Karen's actions aren't just family betrayal. They're serious crimes that could land her in jail. Adding a layer of high-stakes tension to my decisions, I weave this into my police report, emphasizing how the $12,500 loan pushes it into felony territory. Plus, the Little Nell in Aspen? From TripAdvisor reviews, rooms average $1 a night, underscoring their lavish splurge while skimping on us. This fuels my rage into a blazing inferno, pushing me to act swiftly. I flash back to my husband's death in that car crash. My parents swooped in like saviors. But now I see it as their chance to control me. They sold his car for peanuts. Pocketed the help money. Kickstarting this debt cycle. Briar, with her big eyes just like her dad's, becomes my anchor. I vow silently to shield her from this toxic loop forever. Monday afternoon. Briar finds me in the kitchen organizing the evidence into labeled folders. Police report. FTC affidavit. Vehicle title. Loan recording request confirmation. She stands in the doorway in her school uniform. Backpack still on. Why aren't Grandma and Grandpa calling about my birthday? I kneel down. Level with her. She's 9 years old and already knows how to brace for disappointment. I taught her that by example. By letting her watch me flinch every time my phone rang. They hurt our feelings. I say, they made some bad choices. We're taking space to be safe. Her face clears like weather changing. Oh, I thought I did something wrong. My throat closes up. No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Okay. She drops her backpack. Can we make hot chocolate? We make it with real cocoa powder and too many marshmallows. And she tells me about the art project at school. How Mrs. Patterson said her shading technique is improving. The ceramic mug watches from the counter. And halfway through Briar's story, I pick it up. This is beautiful, I say, but I think we should donate it to someone who will appreciate it more. Briar looks at the mug. Looks at me. Grandpa won't like it anyway. He never likes my stuff. She says it matter-of-factly, without tears, like she's known it all along and was just waiting for me to catch up. I put the mug in the donation box. Cover it with newspaper so we don't have to look at it anymore. Sunday night. My phone lights up with a text from an unknown number. I know it's Thad before I even read it. We need to talk about this misunderstanding. Family doesn't call police. I type back. Family doesn't commit fraud. See you Tuesday. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again, then nothing. I text Mike. They land Tuesday afternoon. I'll confirm the time tomorrow. He sends back a thumbs up. I organize the evidence one more time. Police report on top. Then the FTC affidavit. Then the vehicle title with my name highlighted in yellow. Then the loan company's confirmation that they're investigating the fraud claim. Everything fits in the manila envelope. Crisp and irrefutable. Briar is asleep on the couch. Her homework finished early for once. Her breathing steady. The house is quiet except for the rain starting up again outside. Tapping against the windows like it's asking permission to enter. I don't give it. Tuesday, 2 in the afternoon. I watch from behind my curtain as Todd's rental sedan screeches into the driveway. Spraying gravel. Karen practically falls out of the passenger side before the car stops moving. Her face is blotchy. Makeup smeared. Todd's complexion has gone past red into something closer to eggplant. My phone sits on the counter. Mike's number already queued up. One word. That's all it takes. Thad storms up the walkway like a man who's never been told no in his entire 65 years. His dress shoes slip on the wet pavement. He catches himself on the porch railing. Then pounds on my door hard enough to rattle the frame. Open up. We need to settle this now. His voice cracks on the last word. I can hear Karen behind him. A high whine about humiliation and family loyalty. And how could I do this to them in front of Carrick's in-laws? I text Mike. Now. The sound starts low, a diesel engine rumbling to life 2 houses down. Then the hydraulic whine of the lift bed adjusting. Then the unmistakable beep 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 of a truck backing up. Todd's pounding falters. He turns. Mike Kowalski's tow truck rolls into my driveway with the inevitability of a glacier. No hurry, no drama, just a working man doing a job. Chains rattling against metal, work boots crunching on gravel. I watch Todd's face cycle through confusion, recognition, then something close to panic. What the hell is this? He spins back toward my door. Adeline, what did you do? Mike cuts the engine. The silence feels louder than the pounding. He climbs down from the cab, clipboard in hand, moving with the unhurried efficiency of someone who's repossessed 100 vehicles and doesn't particularly care about the story behind number 101. Thad lurches toward him. Get that truck out of here. This is private property. Mike doesn't even look up from his clipboard. Owner requested the vehicle be impounded. That would be Adeline Richardson. Sole owner. No co-signer. You got documentation saying otherwise? I'll wait while you get it. He won't wait. We both know it. Todd's mouth opens and closes. I can see him doing the math. Running through every manipulation tactic in his arsenal. Trying to find the angle that turns this around. The problem is simple. I own the Ford F-150. Not him. Never him. Just because he's been driving it for 2 years doesn't make it his. Mike crouches beside the truck, hooking chains under the front axle with practiced movements. The metallic clang echoes across the street. I notice Mrs. Patterson on her porch. 3 houses down. Phone raised. Recording. Mr. Chen from across the street has come outside. Arms crossed. The Hendersons are visible through their front window. An audience. Perfect. Karen grabs Todd's arm, her whisper carrying across the yard. The neighbors are watching. Stop making a scene. The irony would be funny if my heart wasn't hammering. I open the door. The hinges creak. Thad whips around so fast he nearly trips over his own feet. His face does something complicated when he sees me standing there. Calm. Manila envelope tucked under my arm. You. He points at me like I'm a misbehaving child. You locked my credit card. You're stealing my truck. Have you lost your mind? I step onto the porch. The rain has stopped, but everything still drips. Water runs off the gutters, patters onto the walkway, soaks into the dirt that used to be grass before I stopped being able to afford landscaping. Your credit card. I let the words sit there. Your truck. We're family. That means we share. Sharing requires permission. My voice comes out steadier than I expected. Loud enough for Mrs. Patterson's recording. Clear enough that there's no ambiguity. You forged my signature for a $12,500 loan to pay for a golf membership. Karen's face goes white. Todd's goes purple again. That was a temporary loan. A misunderstanding. I meant to tell you. Meant to pay it back. I just needed. You committed identity theft. I pull the manila envelope from under my arm. Open it slowly. I filed a police report. Friday, March 15th. Case number 2024-7743. I filed a Federal Trade Commission identity theft affidavit. I hold up the certified mail receipt. I mailed copies to the Clackamas County District Attorney yesterday. The investigation is open. The color drains from Thad's face so fast I think he might actually faint. Behind him, Mike releases the parking brake. The truck lurches as the tow bed begins to lift. The front wheels come off the ground with a groan of suspension and hydraulics. Thad's status symbol. His proof that he's still somebody important. Rising into the air like an offering to gods who stopped listening years ago. You can't do this. Karen's voice has gone thin. We're your parents. We took care of you when nobody else would. We gave you $20 when you had nothing. You gave me a loan with interest. I paid back $26 over 3 years. I don't raise my voice, don't need to. Then I paid you $14.400 more over the last 12 months. That's $40.400 total for a $20 loan you forced on me while I was grieving. Math. Cold. Hard numbers. The one language Thad actually speaks. The truck stays here, he says. We need it. The truck goes to impound. Storage fee is $95 per day until you can prove legal ownership. I look at Mike. Morrison and 72nd? Yes, ma'am. Mike climbs back into the cab. Thad takes a step toward me. His hands are shaking. You're making a huge mistake. Family doesn't call the police on family. When this backfires. When everyone knows what you've done. When everyone knows. I stopped my parents from committing felony fraud. I meet his eyes. I'll survive that conversation. The truck is fully lifted now. Back wheels still on the ground. Ready to roll. Mike puts it in gear. I hold up the envelope again. You can leave now and call a lawyer. Or you can stay on my property and I'll add witness harassment to the felony fraud indictment. Your choice. You have 30 seconds. For the first time in my entire life. I watch my father look small. The bluster drains away. The threats die in his throat. He looks at Karen, who's crying now, mascara running down her face in black rivers. This isn't over, he says. Yes, it is. I step back inside and close the door. Lock it, deadbolt, chain. Through the window, I watch them stand there for another moment. Frozen, the truck rolling away behind them. Then Thad turns and walks back to the rental car. Karen follows, her shoulders shaking. They don't look back. I lean against the door. Envelope pressed to my chest. And wait for my hands to stop shaking. They don't. But I'm still standing. 2 days later, the letter arrives on thick cream paper. The kind attorneys use when they want you to know you're being threatened by someone important. I turn it over in my hands. Noting the embossed return address. Mitchell and Howe. Family law specialists. Inside, 3 paragraphs of legal language boil down to this. Return the truck within 5 business days or face a lawsuit for elder abuse and theft of property. I read it twice. Then I laugh, a sound that scrapes my throat raw. Briar looks up from her math homework. Mom? Nothing, honey. Just grown-up nonsense. The voicemail from Aunt Maura comes an hour later. I play it on speaker while washing dinner dishes. Briar safely upstairs. Your mother is in the hospital. Maura's voice trembles with practiced distress. Stress-induced chest pains. The doctors say it's from emotional trauma. You did this, Adeline. You put your own mother in the hospital because you couldn't be the bigger person and just give them back their truck. Their truck, the Ford F-150 titled solely in my name. Paid off with my bank account. Insured under my policy. I grip the edge of the sink. My reflection wavers in the window above the faucet. For a second, I see myself at 29. Nodding while Karen took my phone. Agreeing when Thad sold my husband's car for half its value. The girl who believed being taken care of meant being controlled. The conditioning runs deeper than bone. It lives in the space between heartbeats. Whispering that I'm ungrateful, that I'm cruel, that family forgives. I delete the voicemail. My hand shakes anyway. Rachel finds me the next morning at the coffee shop where we meet every Thursday. I slide into the booth across from her. And she takes one look at my face. What happened? I show her the letter. Then I play Maura's voicemail. The one I saved in a moment of weakness at 3 a.m. Rachel's expression hardens. They stole your identity. They committed fraud. They are not the victims here. But what if she really is in the hospital? Then she's experiencing the consequences of her own choices. Rachel reaches across the table. Grips my wrist. Adeline, they forged loan documents in your name. That's a felony. You didn't put her anywhere. She put herself there. The words land like river stones. Solid and cold. I find Jonathan Pierce through a consumer protection forum online. His office occupies the second floor of a converted warehouse in downtown Portland, all exposed brick and industrial lighting. He's younger than I expected. Maybe 40, with silver already threading through dark hair. I spread the evidence across his desk: the police report, the FTC affidavit, the loan application recording with Karen's voice reciting my social security number, the American Express statements showing 4 years of unauthorized charges totaling $6 for cigars, country club lunches, leather goods my father didn't need, the vehicle title for the Ford F-150, my signature alone on the ownership line. Jonathan reviews each page in silence. When he finally looks up, his expression is granite. We aren't defending against their threats. He says, we're prosecuting. The word prosecution hits different than defense. It tastes like power instead of fear. Can we actually do that? You have documented fraud, identity theft, and financial exploitation. The question isn't can we, it's how hard do you want to hit? I think of Briar crying herself to sleep while they toasted champagne in Aspen. As hard as the law allows. To heighten the tension, I recall from Nolo's legal encyclopedia that in Oregon, financial elder abuse can backfire on the accusers if the victim is actually the one exploited. Here, it's reversed, with me as the younger party fighting back against parental exploitation, which under ORS 124.050 could classify their actions as abuse of a vulnerable adult. Given my grief state post-husband's death, this flips the script, empowering my case. I add a flashback. During the tow, a neighbor shouts encouragement. You go, girl, amplifying the public humiliation for Thad, who's always craved status, per psychology sites like Psychology Today. Narcissists like him crumble under exposure. Briar's innocent questions about the timeout for grandparents tug at heartstrings, underscoring the emotional toll, while I research quick sale values for F-150s on Kelley Blue Book. Netting $22. A windfall that feels like justice served. Jonathan drafts the demand letter over the next 3 days. He reads it to me over the phone before sending. Full restitution of $12.500 for the fraudulent loan plus $6 for unauthorized credit card charges. Total $18.500. Payment due within 30 days or criminal charges proceed immediately. What about the truck? I ask. Already handled. You sold it to a dealership yesterday for $22. You applied $8 from the sale toward their debt, reducing what they owe you in cash. The rest covered legal fees. And I've wired the surplus to your savings account. I sold the truck, past tense, something I didn't know I'd done until Jonathan arranged it. Explaining that since I owned it outright, I could dispose of it however I wanted. They'll need to buy their own vehicle now. With what money? I don't know. Don't care. I'm also sending copies of all evidence to the district attorney's office and to Thaddeus Sterling's estate attorney. If they don't settle, prosecution moves forward on multiple felony counts. My father has an estate attorney. Of course he does, planning to pass along assets bought with money stolen from his daughter. Do it, I say. The settlement meeting happens next week in a conference room that smells like furniture polish and fear. Jonathan sits beside me, his briefcase open, documents arranged in precise rows. Thad and Karen arrive with their attorney, a tired-looking man named Bernard, who already has the expression of someone who knows he's lost. My parents look smaller than I remember. Thad's face is gray, his golf tan faded to sallow. Karen won't meet my eyes. Jonathan doesn't waste time on pleasantries. He places a laptop at the center of the table and presses play. Karen's voice fills the room, smooth and confident, answering security questions about my first pet, my mother's maiden name, confirming a $12.500 loan for a club membership upgrade. Bernard closes his eyes. Thad stares at the table. Jonathan advances to the next slide, the Instagram photo. Champagne glasses and professional skis and my parents grinning beside a 20-foot Christmas tree. Next to it, the text message. Money is tight. We can't make the drive. Your granddaughter cried herself to sleep that night. Jonathan says, his voice clinical. While you were in Aspen. Spending money you stole from her mother. Bernard leans close to Thad. Whispers urgent words I can't hear. Thad's hand trembles as he reaches for the pen. The settlement agreement is 4 pages long. Thad signs each one. His signature nothing like the bold scroll I remember from birthday cards. Bernard explains the terms quietly. They have 30 days to liquidate assets. The house goes on the market Monday. They're moving to a rental across town. Something they can afford on Social Security alone. Karen finally looks at me. Her eyes are wet. We're your parents. How can you do this to us? The answer rises swift and clean. How could you do it first? I stand. Jonathan gathers the signed documents. Slides them into his briefcase with the satisfied click of latches closing. I walk out of that conference room and don't look back. Behind me, my parents sit with nothing but their bills and the lawyer they can't afford. The rain has stopped. Pavement gleams under streetlights. I unlock my car, climb inside, and sit in silence. Then I drive home to Briar. Who's waiting with her homework spread across the kitchen table? Who trusts me to keep her safe? I kept her safe. 1 year later, I stand in our new apartment in Portland, watching late afternoon sun turn the hardwood floors gold. The place is smaller than the old house. But it breathes differently. No shadows collecting in corners. No driveway where trucks used to idle. Briar's 10th birthday party fills the living room with noise I never knew I craved. 7 kids from her new school sprawl across the rug, laughing at something on someone's phone. Rachel leans against the kitchen counter, cutting cake, catching my eye with a grin that says she remembers when I couldn't imagine this. My design business pulled in $43 last year. Not remarkable, except I'm not bleeding $1.200 a month anymore to people who called it love. The fraudulent loan vanished from my credit report after the FTC affidavit processed. Clean slate. I didn't know what that felt like until 3 months ago when I checked and saw my score had jumped 140 points. The doorbell rings. My body freezes for half a second. Old wiring still sparking. My hand reaches for the knob and I notice the tremor is barely there now. Fading. I open the door to a delivery guy holding 2 dozen balloons. Silver and purple, Briar's favorite colors. The card reads, "For the girl who deserves all the celebrations. Love, Rachel." I carry them inside and Briar shrieks. Actually shrieks in a way she never did at the old house where volume meant risk. She doesn't ask why her grandparents didn't send anything. Hasn't asked in months. Last time she mentioned them, she said they're in timeout for being mean. Right? I'd nodded. That's right. Okay, she'd said and went back to her homework. Simple as that. Kids understand boundaries better than adults do. Later, after the guests leave and Rachel helps me bag up wrapping paper, I find myself at my desk. Journal open. I've been writing more lately. Trying to sort through what the last 5 years were. What they weren't. I write. I spent 5 years believing I owed them for keeping me alive after my husband died. Turns out staying alive was my choice. They were just loan officers collecting interest on my grief. I stare at that line. Read it twice. Then I write beneath it. The door I locked wasn't to keep me in. It was to let us out. Briar appears beside me, clay dust on her cheek. Mom, we're going to be late for pottery class. The studio we signed up for last month. The one with the big windows and the teacher who doesn't mind when Briar's bowls come out lopsided. We drive across town and I don't think about the settlement or the lawyers or the size of the house my parents had to sell. Don't think about Karen's last voicemail. The one I deleted without listening to. Jonathan said the no contact order is holding. $10 per violation. They haven't tested it. At the studio, sunlight pours through windows streaked with old rain, catching every dust mote floating between the wheels. Briar settles at her station, hands already reaching for wet clay. She's been working on a bowl for 3 weeks, shaping and reshaping until it feels right. She holds it up now, uneven and perfect, glaze the color of sea glass. For us? She asks. For us, I say. The teacher offers to take our photo. We stand together, clay smeared on our shirts, dust in our hair, Briar's bowl held between us like an offering. We're both grinning, real and unguarded. Back home, I print the photo and stick it on the fridge with a magnet. It covers the space where the old family portrait used to hang. The one I donated months ago. Along with a ceramic mug wrapped in tissue paper. Briar comes up beside me. Studying the new photo. We look happy, she says. We are, I tell her. And for the first time in 5 years. I'm not lying. To ramp up the emotional payoff, I draw from real-life stories on sites like Reddit's r, raised by narcissists, where survivors of familial financial abuse share how cutting ties led to thriving, mirroring my business growth. Perhaps inspired by Portland's vibrant freelance scene per Forbes articles on small business recovery post-pandemic. The no-contact order echoes legal protections under Oregon's stalking laws, ORS 163.732. Adding teeth to my boundaries and preventing further manipulation. In a new flashback, I recall Thod's booming voice at family dinners, belittling my late husband's job, now contrasted with Briar's carefree laughter at the party, symbolizing our escape from generational toxicity. I expand the journal entry. Grief isn't a debt. It's a bridge to rebuild on your terms. This catharsis feels like shedding skin, with the sunlit apartment representing renewal. Much like how therapy resources from Psychology Today emphasize reclaiming narrative after betrayal.